Hello, welcome. I'm Rene Valentina, and this is Musing Interruptus. Musing Interruptus is a podcast for sharing thoughts and stories and enjoying idiomatic phrases. You can read along. The transcription is in the description of this episode. Click on Continue Reading to open a Google Doc with a complete transcription. The idiomatic expressions are in italics. Try to get the meaning from the context, and then look them up to see if you were right. If you like it, subscribe, share, like. But more importantly, continue the conversation. Drop a comment with your answers to today's questions. I love hearing from you. The music is by Blue Dot. What kind of food would you want for your last meal? What kind of question is that? Some cruel and unusual game aimed at putting you in the worst possible mood because it implies you won't have another. Thank you, by the way. My 3 a.m. self salutes the person who asked me this. The many ways to feel the fire in the belly include actually putting irritating food in there. Spicy or fried or both. But we mustn't be literal, as we seldom are in the Musing verse. For those of us who celebrate the 31st, as the last day of the year, we might experience the diminished version of this feeling. The last meal of 2024 is just a night away. Some traditions call for foods that symbolize or attract abundance, like lentils. To me, that's a healthy option, especially if you're having a late dinner. Others might stay away from the symbolism and have a downright feast. Perhaps the last feast before the festivals in a few months, the first to come next year. My younger self partied. The meal was irrelevant, the drink circumstantial. The music was everything. And I had traditions with people I loved and still love. It was a sort of conjuring of the good vibration, a summoning of love and good fortune. It never occurred to me to think about money, just a beam of love, like a Care Bear. I would forget that I'm human and I need to make money, pay rent, bills, medicines, and insurance policies. Just love. Maybe if I had seen the Wolf of Wall Street movie, my efforts would have been oriented to more lucrative endeavors. Would my family and friends have gone along with the festivities? I don't think so. Hangovers get worse as years progress. Singing and dancing for a few hours might leave you tired and hoarse, but full of endorphins. And circumstantially a hangover. That is how I would concentrate a different type of fire in my belly. A meditation in movement and sound to harness motivation, or maybe to prove that I can. Who is adverse to a little show of power? Especially if it's for a greater good, outside the walls of myself. I loved my New Year's celebration. We were surrounded by love because everyone focused on it. We danced because we liked the music. We laughed on account of good times. I wasn't aware that we were making some of the tenderest memories I carry in a bag of all that I can't leave behind. That I won't leave behind, ever. I remember the first year. I felt I had been left behind, that life was happening at someone else's home. Call it naivete or rebellion, but I wasn't having it. We would not be left behind this lifetime. We would make it memorable, fun, and nobody there would have cause to feel left out, left behind. Not that night. I can't imagine it could have had more fun or laughed harder. We did it right. I knew very little about life, almost as much as I know today. I knew this. The best music heightens the senses. That was a chemistry that was afforded to me. The dining room table was pulled out of the way and left an invitation to play. That is the only way I knew I could achieve that. Music and space. People would naturally fill it. The music is key. Once people lock into the music, you're in for a ride. I had seen it at parties and Recently, at one of those seminars that change your life, if you remember, you are the person who has to make the change. Traditions and groups change throughout the years. I was lucky to grow up with my mom, sister, and Betty and Rodrigo. You wouldn't believe the fun we had. It started out as a resistance to feeling abandoned, for me, and resulted in a ceremony of love, light, and joy, sheer joy. I won't go into the mea culpas for monopolizing the music and how I learned to share the stereo a little late in life. That's youth. I was lucky it was brilliant. An easy 10 years of perfecting our timing and the order of the songs. At least, it was more. We had a core. And some friends and families would join us for the post-midnight festivities and stay until they were danced out. My favorite Uncle Tony with Tia Silvia and Cousin Danny would come over sometimes. Great memories there, too. I remember Dad showing up for a hug one year. If only he knew. Maybe he did. He'll know now. I just realized it myself today at 6 a.m. Some have the breakfast club. We had our New Year's society. We were serious about it. And that's how it happened. I started writing at 3 a.m., the witching hour. I don't see any witches around unless I look in the mirror. I guess this is just another tradition to add to my New Year's preparations. A last chance to summon the creative spirits of love and magic. One more visit to the land of Musing Interruptus in 2024. Hubris, I know. But we all know you have to be arrogant to do this. Doing it right is a whole other ballgame. I tried to start this year on the right foot. I wonder what foot I'm ending it on. Is ending it on the left any good? I was going to edit an interview for the last 2024 episode, but after the Santa Claus ordeal, it seems we need to end on the right note. Or at least try to. So after a fiction hangover comes this. I wonder if I did everything I was supposed to do this year. Was I able to mend the unkindnesses to myself and others? Could a new year mean a new opportunity, or is it just a continuum interrupted by a celebration? It can be all of that and more. My 14-year-old self proved it. My 41-year-old self still believes it. Life is what you make out of the spaces in between loss. Depending on how you view the glass, half empty or half full, this might make sense to you. In basketball terms, it is a rebound. And what you do once you get your shot. I haven't figured out life yet, not this year. I guess that means that there are more stories and rants to be had. Oh my God. I hope. If you are listening or watching, thank you. Thank you for following and subscribing and sharing your thoughts with me. We did it. Another year in which we shared a space once a week. 53 times if you keep track. Somehow in my mind and yours. That is how it works. It's like a visitation. Sometimes we stayed on the metaphorical porch, sipped iced tea, or on a warm summer evening in a rocking chair or porch swing. Others, you came straight into my kitchen, where mess is unavoidable. When you shared your thoughts with me, you let me in on the other side of this. How many writers have that privilege? Sometimes I got to know what happened on the other side. Thank you. Whether or not you are waiting for the rebound or you are positioned to take a 3-point shot, remember we've got this. The Pistons lose a lot, but they still play. In football terms, you might fumble the ball, but you can still score a touchdown. I don't know if you'll get to the Super Bowl, but that isn't the point. You wouldn't root for a team if it were. You'd always be changing teams and have all the jerseys or hats. It's about the joy of the game. I was going to write a soccer reference, but I'm not ready for that yet. Whatever the metaphor is, the only option is to take it one day at a time. Even the last day of the year. We take the good with the bad the sweet with the heart-wrenchingly bitter, the obscure with the lucid. Fat cows and skinny cows, bad translations. Remember to feed the cows. Fatten those cows. Happy New Year's. It's a process. You can start or continue it tomorrow. That's entirely up to you. Thank you for listening. So, is it a continuum or are you starting over? What color underwear are you putting on to ring in the New Year's, and what can you learn from your younger self? What's the fire in your belly from? What does it mean to you? I'm listening.